Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, chapter whatever the fuck it is. Oh, 27. 2 Blue Vortex, chapter 27. Starts off with everyone's favorite character. Inojin, not my favorite character. I hate this guy. That was sarcasm. He's not anybody's favorite character. If he is, then you need to reevaluate your entire favorite character roster. But anyway, we have Inojin here, the brave and the bold, wearing his new colors, right? And I guess these are new, right? But anyway, I heard a lot of people say his design changed. I don't think it really changed at all. I think, his art style really changed. The way he's drawn him kind of changed because the haircut looks different on him. I won't say it looks better because I don't like this haircut at all, right? But it looks different. I guess that means it looks slightly better than it used to. But for me, they're both trash. I digress though, okay? Inojin is becoming important. Like I said before, he's becoming way more relevant due to this progressing and newly developed, I guess, if you watch the filler in the anime and you pay attention to obscure light novel, stuff that people are, saying, oh, they're trying to plant their relationship there the whole time. Whatever. I don't care. I didn't watch the fucking filler anime scenes where apparently they're coloring it together. He was in an art block and she helped him get out of an art block. I think the beginning of their relationship is weird, yada, yada, yada. You heard me say it before. I digress. So the chapter starts up with Sarada and Sumire with their necks getting grabbed by Damien. Now, before I digress any further, I'll stay first. I still don't think Damien is intimidating, okay? He's a kid in a onesie with rabbit ears. I'll keep that short so I don't digress too far. But let me just say that this chapter starts up right here, right? So I kind of called it. I didn't exactly say it verbatim, but I called it because I was suspicious about Eida's complete 180 trying to be, my 180 referring to her threatening the lives of Sarada and Sumire and being so coldly like, okay, I'm just gonna kill you now because I want to and I can, because she quite literally can. I thought that was weird, and that makes her a crazy character. I said it before, like, oh, this is why she doesn't have friends, because she's kind of like a monster. She's just turning around like crazy, like a psychopath. Oh, I'm just gonna kill you whenever I want. That's not really human-like. That's not really, that's not stable, right? But I guess there is some level of consistency in the characters that we've been getting now, because before, well, I'm about to say two things at once. I kind of tend to do this, right? So I want to say one thing. I want to give him Ikimoto and whoever else is helping him keep these parts that I'm about to mention intact, right? So we are getting some level of consistency with these characters in 2 Blue Vortex as far as what they've been portrayed as so far. And what do I mean by that? This is the other half, the negative. I think, for example, a character like Sarada has barely had much of a character, but the character that she did have, that was there, that we knew, has been betrayed. Betrayal. He betrayed that, okay? And it's no longer the Sarada that we have currently in 2 Blue Vortex. I.e., well, I'll go back to, I'm referring to her whole dynamic of, I don't know if I should be Hokage, and her that questioning herself and all that sort of shit, and the Boruto love sort of thing, right? I think they kind of just flipped that shit around and they decided to exasperate and exaggerate and change what her character, because she was completely sure about herself. They decided to flip that around and exaggerate it, right? And make it like, okay, so secretly she was unsure because of these feelings. That's one example. But then characters like Eida, who was really not that, you couldn't really put your finger on her. Like, she doesn't really have a character. They're kind of starting to give her one, and they've been going in a steady direction with the type of character they've been giving her. So a new character. They've been consistent. The new characters have been consistent, and then the old characters, they have not been consistent this whole time, only up to a point, and that is when Two Blue Vortex has started. Because every character in Two Blue Vortex right now, they have not been this way the entirety of Boruto. And you can try to reply and say, oh, that's character progression, character growth, blah blah blah. That's not what I'm talking about. I just mean the core parts of the characters, like their values and just what the character can be defined as. I understand characters grow. Boruto isn't the same happy-go-lucky character. I'm not referring to stuff like that, right? He's changed for obvious reasons, but that's a different subject, whether or not that feels forced or not. But I feel like I just digressed a lot, but my point is, I think they're kind of balancing that a little bit better. So I'm kind of interested in seeing, well, I'm not even interested. I just want to know already what the fuck is up with Damien, because he's still kind of in the same state that he's always been in. He doesn't really have a character. He's just sitting there smiling and being like a gremlin, and when he gets the chance, he flexes his power over people, and he just keeps doing the same sort of shit, right? He doesn't really have a character that you can put your finger on. You can't say many things about the character, and like even quite literally what they've done on screen is limited, right? They've only popped up on screen and done the same actions and behaved the same way, said the same phrases, had the same sort of responses to people in situations and all that sort of stuff, right? So I don't like that. So we go on to Eida, talking about the question that everybody wants to know: how come Sarada and Sumire were not affected by her omnipotence, okay? And she starts talking about the possibility of, is it because you guys love Boruto? No, there's a lot of other girls who love Boruto and Kawaki, but they're not affected. And she comes to her hypothesis that because of a subconscious want, the subconscious desire. I probably didn't say that right the first time. Her subconscious desire and her subconscious want to get that feeling of friendship, the need for friends in her life. That's what she wanted. Same way she wanted Kawaki to, get what he wanted, and it manifested in the way it did, which doesn't make that much sense. But it's plot convenient, right? Flip their lives around. Kawaki gets what he wants, but not really. He didn't want that shit. Like right now, he doesn't even care about his life because he feels like he's the one who fucked up everybody else's. But as long as the enemies are dead, So anyway, I digress. So her subconscious wish this time, or whenever, because it's passive, it's a passive ability. If you're familiar with the term passive abilities being referred to in games, right? She has a passive ability to just make them excluded. And I guess she was always excluded before she met them, right? That's what she's saying. So even though she referred to the day that they already knew her, after they knew her, in fact, and she says, how about we just be ordinary friends? Even though she claimed this and said this, Sarada, do you remember this day? We still are led to believe that they somehow were not affected by the omnipotence before that point also, because they already encountered her not being affected. Okay, Sarada already remembered Boruto. Sumire, they both were already still liking Boruto at that point, so that kind of doesn't make sense. But whatever, she just says whatever. We're here, okay? Maybe it's because all of our hearts have been stolen by Otsutsuki's. This is what I've been wanting. Normal relationship, normal friends, whatever. Okay. I really don't see either of you trying to harm me at this point. So it's all neutraled out. Everything's neutraled out. Eida has accepted them as friends or whatever. You see Sarada grab Sumire's hand, they run in and do a big group hug, whatever. Eida also mentions, oh yeah, I forgot to say, she says she doesn't care if they were the ones to kill her. So Eida has like that other part of her character, like the character still doesn't make entire sense. I said he's been kind of consistent with how she's been portrayed, but that's because she hasn't really been doing anything. Like I said with the other character I gave as an example. So it's not really too hard to portray the character consistently if all they do is the same fucking thing when they pop up on screen. Like Eida, she's just sitting there, barely saying anything, barely expressing herself. Okay, or she's just fangirling over Kawaki or Boruto in different ways. Okay, we've seen her have one reaction to fear over Mamushi. So we don't really see multiple facets of these characters and the different sides of them, emotionally or just any other aspect at all, right? So I'm sure this is deriving from the fact that she does not like her existence and how she has omnipotence, but it's kind of contradicting the fact that she's been living and talking and interacting with people this whole time the way she has, and still has the desire to find some sort of romance with Boruto or Kawaki. So it's like, isn't that the whole point? Like, she doesn't feel like this anymore because now she found two people that could possibly like her for who she is and whatnot, right? So that, like, those two options, they didn't fail yet. So why is she still feeling like this secretly? I don't know. But hey, maybe he's not as consistent as I thought with the character. But we digress. Again, we go forward. So she's hugging them like she's their mother. And, it's like the reintroduction where it's a fresh start again for them, whatever. Okay? So we get into a part of a chapter that I do not like, and it kind of connects to what I should have mentioned earlier. I forgot if I did. I've been all over the place. But within the Boruto series, the writer does this sort of thing that I do not like, where he kind of over explains. And I don't even know how to explain his over explanation. So I'll try my best to tell you why I don't like it and how it's weird. It affects how people read the story for some reason. I don't know. But listen, it's like he gives you the answer for everything. Okay, he has every character give you the most obvious answer that the reader would naturally kind of come to the conclusion and think of as a possibility, right? They give you the answers before you can even ask that question yourself. During the scene, the same moment they're introducing this new concept to you. So if they introduce this new thing to you, and before you can even ask a question in your head, they're just answering all of them, and there's nothing being left for the for the mind or for you to wonder about. That's not always a bad thing, because sometimes you have to set rules. You have to set the ground rules, the can do's and cannot do's. What you can and can't do with this sort of thing, what can and cannot happen, I should say, right? And that's what he's doing too. He sets these kind of rules, okay? So let me go into the rules. Mamushi will undergo division. It's one of his abilities. And there's almost no limit to how many he can become. Okay? And obviously, everybody's going to think this, right? He has Boruto answer it immediately before you can even start thinking it, right? So they're like shadow clones. Totally different. Biggest difference is each one of them is real, right? So they're all real. Therefore, there's no splitting of chakra or no physical power being split. It's kind of split off over here, but his physical power doesn't split at all either, right? So I have a slight problem with this because, okay, it sounds kind of cool as a concept, right? But then there's two problems with this. The bigger problem is going to come later, because you mentioned this as his ability. So he always gives stipulations to everything, and he gives you all the stipulations immediately, and then later on he sets it up so one of them are going to be broken. Okay, and half of them don't fucking matter anyway. Okay, so for example, I'll give like it reminds me of when they had Kashin Koji go and fight Jura for Sasuke and Naruto to watch and bear witness to how Jura fought, right? So they were supposed to learn from that. When they fought him, they didn't use or implement any sort or level of strategy based on what they saw Kashin Koji did. They just went in there, got their ass whooped. Naruto went Baryon mode, which, by the way, in the manga was weak as hell compared to Jura. He was still getting his ass whooped. But I'm more, Jura, Ishiki, whatever, right? Ishiki, he was still getting his ass whooped, but it was just siphoning his life. In the anime, they made him actually physically stronger. So in the anime, during that fight, they actually did use some of the knowledge and apply it to their fight. That they, when they bore witness to it, when they watched Kashin Koji fight him the first time. That was the point of that. So he does stuff like that where he'll set things up and the stipulations don't fucking matter later. So Boruto's Flying Rajin, he listed a bunch of general stipulations, right? General things. Oh yeah, he can't go far distances, and it's not the same as the Force because he had to make his own. It's different. He has to focus it into these metal objects, these small metal objects. But then, it's different, but it's basically the same fucking shit. They're just telling you a bunch of different ways how it's basically still the same, right? Based on perspective. That's what they're doing. And then when he goes into fights, none of those stipulations matter. Sometimes you see him not using hand signs, and my biggest complaint is the very first fucking chapter, right? He's fighting, or he gets attacked by all of the Shinju inside of that dimension, okay? And he teleports out scot-free from a whole different dimension. But then when he's inside the outside world, just being inside of a fight is a little too difficult for him to travel a far distance. Now, the further the distance, they specify, the stipulation and add another layer to it and specify, oh, well, now the further the distance, the more focus he needs. And then since he's in a fight with a very strong opponent, the stronger the opponent, the more focus he's gonna need, right? Like come on, bro, this bullshit. This bullshit. So because then something like that, how strong the opponent is relative to how much focus he needs, the writer is going to fluctuate that however he wants, right? So how strong, I said all that to say, for example, how strong Mamushi is and how strong each clone is, how they're all going to be his strength, that shit is not going to matter. They're just mentioning all of this stuff to try to stack up the stakes, right? So he says the only drawback is he creates more of himself. The more that he creates of himself, there's a significant drop in his intelligence, right? So he gets dumber the more he creates. They're giving you stipulation back to back. You must destroy both eyes. The ones who've lost their eyes won't be able to divide any further. He said, but be careful. As their head count decreases, each remaining one's intelligence will improve. See, I didn't understand this right. Because part of the goal is, he said, they got Shikamaru talking to that he's saying obvious things too, right? He said, I see. If we accidentally leave a few alive, they'll each be harder to deal with. Obvious. That's what the fuck he just said. Yeah, okay. So, but if they increase too many, we'll be in over our heads too. So they're playing this game where they're telling you all the ground rules, but none of this shit's gonna matter. The fight's gonna go the way it's gonna go. Okay. So some of this is unnecessary, and some of it quite literally just not contradicts itself, but it cancels itself out. So they're telling you that Mamushi is super strong. Why would you write him so strong if you're gonna have to try to nerf him in a technical way when the fight comes? Oh, he's so strong, but he's gonna split. So now he's gonna be dumb enough that we can deal with him because now his strength isn't gonna really matter. But he's still strong, so be careful, right? It's like we're dealing with animals. We gotta let him get to 20 to 30 bodies. Taking them all out in one swoop would be ideal. So So this, I had a little problem with this, right? This plan sounded a little weird to me. I need to see how they're gonna do this. Oh yeah, wait, my favorite stipulation they added, right? He said, let's just suppose that he leaves one of himself back at the base, right? Something that people probably naturally would have thought, like, yo, he can just hide one of himself, right? And just keep cloning and cloning and cloning. A lot of people naturally are gonna think that, right? I kind of thought that. So they answer it for you as soon as you think it. Oh yeah, you're right. All this obvious talk, right? He says, no need to worry about that. Oh wait, we have the convenient solution. Each time he divides, all of the individuals can't help but flocking together. They can't help but just gathering together. So they're all gonna be here, and we're gonna just end this fight the way the story wants us to. And you know, unless we get like a plot twist and Bug runs away, or somebody intervenes, or like what I think would be kind of a, you know, not interesting, but it would at least make the plot keep going forward, because the fight with Bug will not just end right here. If Mamushi, my bad, if Mamushi, before the fight happens, he made a clone of himself, stay back at the base, so when he went into the fight and all the clones died, they still wanted him back home. Okay, he could be smart enough before he cloned himself to think in advance. That's like the simple solution. If he doesn't do that, this is dumb writing. If he doesn't do that, this is stupid writing. Why would he not do that? They're talking about his intelligence and how that's a problem, but it's not a problem if he splits himself. If he's so fucking smart, why would he not just leave one of himself back at the base before he ran out there to split even further and get dumb? Doesn't he know he gets stupid? Or is he already stupid? Right? So whatever, that's dumb. And this is my favorite stipulation. Yeah, they're just gonna flock together. But what was I saying over here? So, oh yeah, so he's saying taking them all out in one swoop will be ideal. This plan is weird to me because he also says destroying their eyes means that they can't divide anymore. So if, like, let's think about it like this, right? He also says we have to be careful. As their head count decreases, each remaining one's intelligence will improve. So if their plan isn't to just let him get to like 20, 30, like he says, instead of taking them all out in one fell swoop, because they probably won't be able to do that. If they try to do, like, what type of jutsu are they gonna do to just kill them all, right? If they're this strong. So they're probably gonna have them do this stupid shit right here, try to take them out in one fell swoop, and then something's gonna go wrong. One of them is gonna split off and keep, you know, cloning himself or something like that, right? Maybe he's gonna get to Eida. Who knows, right? But wouldn't the ideal plan, the straightforward plan to be, once they get to 20, 30 bodies, stab all of their eyes out? Like, start getting rid of their eyes? They're dumb. They won't notice you're taking out their eyes. Like, they won't notice your plan. Start going for their eyes each. It should be easy, right? It should be easy if, like, you know, if they're like animals, you could just run up on the animal, stab his eyes out. If you dodge it a couple times, like, how else are you could, like, they plan on killing them all at once, right? So I don't know. Once you kill its eyes, they can't divide anymore. So you start stabbing the eyes out one by one. What happened to that Uchiha Kenjutsu? An animal can't dodge a shuriken, can he? Right? So I don't know. Like, I'm curious to see. I'm curious, not interested. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be that cool, but I'm kind of curious to see what the fuck he's gonna do. He's giving us all these stipulations. Which one is he gonna try to break immediately, right? Which one's not gonna matter anymore? I'm sure I already know the answer for that. I feel like I'm ranting at this point, but we go to what Inojin has to say. He says, is it necessary to confront him and engage him in Konoha? Another obvious sort of thing, right? We already know why the fuck they're fighting in Konoha. Like, I think that's kind of obvious, but like they kind of, like, you know, they set that up for this part. I guess this is the answer that they're giving the fans right here. Fans' questions of why won't they just go and fight them before they come to the Leaf Village? Oh, now they have to tell us directly it's because Jorah loves the Leaf Village. He doesn't want the Leaf Village to be attacked. We already know this. Why are they reiterating this? I'm sure that was for the fans. Like you know, Inojin. Oh yeah, Inojin didn't know this, but I don't know. Maybe this was only for him to know this, right? Maybe he really needed to know this information right now. Maybe he was really curious. Like he didn't question too much or anything else, but he just wondered, like, oh, how come we just won't pull up on him first? That's his biggest question out of all the stuff that's been going on, right? Okay. So maybe I'm wrong on that. I'll ease up off of that one. I won't give them too much flack on that. So, and then my biggest question is, like, Inojin is really skilled enough to be doing this, having a whole conversation with the Hokage in front of the skilled, like, inside of a skilled sensory ninja, like, network, right? All around the Leaf Village. So, yeah, they keep reiterating, yeah, he frowns upon, like, running amok in Konoha. Mamushi knows this. So they're kind of talking about how Mamushi, down on an instinctual level, is even aware of certain things, and his fear of Jura is present even as, like, on an instinctual level. Same thing as trying to get Eida as an instinctual level. So worst comes to worst, one of the wild animal ones will be trying to, like, they'll just be trying to sniff her out the whole time, maybe quite literally, right? They'll just be running around like a dog trying to find her. So I wonder how that's gonna go. They're running inside the leaf, like, even if he's not destroying buildings, isn't he still a threat? Like, wouldn't he just, like, can't he turn his hand into a blade and stab somebody walking down the street? Pick up a kid and start running, kidnapping a kid or some shit? Like, killing dogs, and, like, he could still fuck some stuff up in the Leaf Village. Like, it's kind of reckless to let him just run into the village with, like, 20 or 30 clones. I wonder how this is gonna happen. Are they gonna evacuate the citizens? Like, and then Shikamaru's gonna have to explain now all of a sudden, because now he has to. Now the daimyo's in the village, wondering every action of the village, right? Which I'm about to get into later, but I'll try to keep it short because I don't want this video to go on forever. Okay. Inojin, we need you to master a new jutsu. Of course, right? I have a problem with this. Inojin, why does he possess the capability? Like, maybe it's like 2 years, or maybe it was like this year, right? I don't know when he's developing this. It couldn't be that far in the future if Himawari died to the people that they're dealing with, right? So why the hell can he develop a stronger, superior version of the mind transmission jutsu? Why can he do that? Like, why are they trying to give this generation so much, like, stock? And, like, you telling me out of this whole time nobody's done it? Like why isn't his entire generation of the Yamanaka clan at this point using a superior version of the mind transfer jutsu that than Ino was? How come they all not using one at this point? Because it just should be like that at this point. If, like, why just him? Why did he develop one? Because Himawari died. I feel like that's, like, come on, bro. They just want to highlight them, but then it's so convenient on top of it. That's my biggest complaint. It's so convenient to just throw that out there. Oh, I'm gonna teach you a technique from the future. Everybody's learning techniques from the future, bro. Like, what future is this, bro? They did this with Boruto, and it was a contradiction, and it's like a kind of a contradiction. It feels like a paradox, but it's definitely a contradiction with Boruto earlier. Okay, I said it earlier. I'm not gonna explain that. But Boruto learned this shit from a Boruto that never was able to learn it from a Boruto that learned it from Kashin Koji before he, like, learned it himself. That shit makes no fucking sense. The sentence I said just now makes sense, but Boruto doing that shit makes no sense, okay? But I digress. Since it's something you were going to come up with anyway in order to avenge Himawari, yeah, bullshit. So let me just fast forward here and let's get this video over. So I had a problem with this, right? Kawaki, is he stupid too? How come he doesn't question or wonder? And maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But how come he doesn't even question or bat an eye or think twice about the fact that Amado is watching him through his own eyes? Like this is Kawaki. This is what Kawaki saw, and Kawaki's in the room with him. Like, well, anything at all? Like, what do you think? Like, so did he lie to him and tell him that he just implanted the eyes in him newly? Right? Because I'm pretty sure Amado did not want Kawaki or anybody to know. Like, he was hiding the screen from Sumire before, I'm pretty sure. He didn't want Kawaki to know that he was watching himself. He was watching him through his eyes, right? He didn't want him to know that sort of shit. He doesn't even know that he can put him to sleep with a command, right? So it's kind of weird that Kawaki's just cool with that now, unless I'm wrong and he already knew that. Or they trying to imply that he just told him, like, since he's been, asking for upgrades, he said, yo, I'm gonna put a camera in your eyes, bro. So next time you fight Jorah, I'll be able to gather more data. Is that like, they didn't even say that. They should have had him say that. Like, but so it's weird to see him just standing there watching that. But anyway, he yokes him up, obviously. He says, I want more power. He says, whatever. No, I can't do that. Your body's going to give out on you. He says he's blackmailing him about his daughter. So the blackmail about his daughter part is kind of weird to me because Amado, I always thought, it doesn't make any sense, right? They give Amado all this weird knowledge and capabilities that scope and span past what even makes sense or what we've learned or what we've come to learn about him. And it stopped, and then that his capabilities stop at random points and random places. Like for right now, he can imprint a dead man's karma and resurrect it onto Kawaki, and he can even use karma in the first place and put them on to people, and these are from the gods. Like where is he getting god cells from, right? Where does he get god Otsutsuki cells? Like none of this stuff makes sense. Where the fuck did he find Jiraiya's body at? Like his DNA. Like is he his son? Is he one of Jiraiya's bastards? Like where did he get Jiraiya's DNA from, bro? Like was he in the red light district? It doesn't, like, a lot of stuff Amado does makes no sense. They just wrote him in to be like a plot device and a thing that moves the story forward and makes the impossible happen, because that's all he does. How come he still hasn't made an android that's stronger than Jorah or Eida or Damien? He made Eida and Damien. How come he doesn't make another fucking android stronger than them? How come he didn't make Delta stronger than Jorah or Damien? Kashin Koji secretly had a Otsutsuki ability hidden inside of him that he didn't know about because, they wanted to use the character again, so they wrote that to happen. But how come he didn't give his daughter's cyborg an Otsutsuki ability implanted within her, or make her strong enough to do things and even like be his personal bodyguard? Like he lets himself be defenseless all the time. How come Akibe isn't in the room with him? So when Kawaki tries to yoke him up and use like brute force to make him do what he wants, because that's like humiliating and emasculating and demeaning, he just lets it happen every time Kawaki bullies him. He's getting bullied by a teenager. Like it's just so many problems with Amado, bro. So many problems, bro. Why does he let this happen? Why? Why does he let this happen, dude? Why? Why do you let this happen to you, dude? You're a grown ass man, okay? And then you got this capabilities to make androids and robots. But I went off on that rant because it doesn't make sense that how come he doesn't just control Kawaki's body and resurrect his daughter on his own? How come he doesn't just make a body that can like use the karma? Or I guess Kawaki, he didn't make Kawaki from scratch, right? But either way, yeah, he can still control Kawaki. How come he doesn't manipulate Kawaki's mind into using the karma for him, right? How come he can't stimulate the karma in some other way? He's doing all this other bullshit externally. I don't know. He's doing a bunch of random stuff with science that he shouldn't be able to do, okay? He shouldn't be able to do it simply. It's just point blank period. It's simple. He should not be able to do a lot of this shit. And he's been doing it this entire time. So Amado is just different, and it's never been like, that's one of the things they don't just randomly answer. They give you random answers for other shit that hasn't been like answered before. But how come you don't get answers for this? So Kawaki's on a self-destruct mission. Let me move forward. Kawaki's on a self-destruct mission, right? he says, you know, because he doesn't care about himself. I still hold true to my theory that, I mean, if the writing is going to make sense in the end, like I hope it would. I hope they pay attention to their own themes. But if it, you know, in the end, I imagine Kawaki will finally break, whether that be physically or also mentally. He'll finally break, and you know, that's when he'll probably express himself the most and all that sort of stuff, fighting Boruto in the end or something like that, or fighting with Boruto in the end, or whatever, however it's going to end exactly. That's when he's going to finally break and crack, and you know, all that sort of shit. But I get into the last parts of the chapter. Okay, so Konohamaru's getting interrogated by the daimyo, or the daimyo's son, or whoever this is, I forgot. But this is the daimyo himself. So he says, unfortunately, that doesn't offer an ounce of credibility. So my problem with this is they don't really have any logical, they don't really have any good reason to think Konohamaru or anybody else in that fucking room helped Boruto get away. And then the reasons that they do have, they don't say, they didn't even, I just thought of this just now. They don't even mention like you used to be like his team leader, because Kawaki was on Boruto's team, I'm pretty sure, right? At one point they put him on Team 7. They didn't even try to squeeze that bullshit into there. You know, so, because you know that everybody thinks Boruto's Kawaki. So they didn't even say, yo, Kawaki or Boruto was on your team at one point. Like, it's just straight up, we think you did it. We got to investigate you. But then, you know, the daimyo actually secretly doesn't think that he did it. So that's why he thinks it had to be somebody else, right? So that part is like, okay. They don't just think it's Konohamaru, but my problem is in general that they think somebody in that room helped Boruto escape. He is a man capable of killing the Hokage, okay? He ran off with Sasuke Uchiha, okay? He's a shinobi. Why do they think that he immediately had the help of a traitor in the village? Why did they think that the Hokage and the son of the third Hokage will be the first traitors? Shikamaru of the Nara clan, the current acting Hokage, and the son of the third Hokage, Konohamaru. Why would they think that these two immediately were the traitors, and that they had something to do with Boruto escaping? That doesn't make sense to me. They don't even explain, like I said, they don't even try to like squeeze out some answer like, oh, you used to, you know, be his sensei. He joined Team 7. Like, they don't even do that. They don't even do that, bro. So, and then I had a problem with this too, right? Konohamaru, he is not a ninja, okay? The first act of him not being a ninja, the first time I seen that was him and Matsuri, the way he acted with Matsuri. Like, that was not ninja. His Hokage gave him an order, told him to do something, and he faltered, almost gave up, you know, showed too much emotion. This is the second time his Hokage is talking to him, telling him to do something. And what does he do? The first thing he does is get a sweat drop. Okay, I didn't like this because that's actually relevant to the scene. Okay, it's not just there. He's getting shook in the room. Like, bruh, Konohamaru, he just told him, just stay calm and hear me out. I'm the one who let Boruto escape. And his first reaction is to make a face, and Sai picked up on it. Like, come on, bruh. You telling me he's about to get caught or outed because he's making faces in the interrogation room, even though the nigga just told him not to like make any faces? Bro, he just told you not to make any faces, bro. Like, come on, dude. Come on. I don't like Konohamaru. I don't like him. I don't like him. Konohamaru feeling like I don't know why he said this. I feel like this is a contradiction. There's some sort of contradiction toward the ideas of him as a traitor. Like, him saying that so blatantly is weird. too. I forgot to mention that. That was so weird for him to say that so blatantly. Like, I just know that there's something contradicting my reality. Like what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, you could have just said, like, I don't know, he doesn't seem like he's a traitor. Like, why are they making it seem like he just knows he's under a jutsu? He's not Shikamaru, bro. Stop it. And everybody shouldn't just, I don't know. That was a weird sentence for me that I saw him say. But long story short, Shikamaru is trying to recruit Konohamaru. Okay, I am all over the place. He's trying to recruit him to the resistance. Okay, the other side, and he's failing at already because Sai is suspicious already. Like, I think now Sai can go two ways. Like I said, I know just saying like, oh, I think this can happen or I think that can happen. You know, just throwing that, it's like throwing out multiple possibilities. That's not really like accurate prediction. If one of them is right, you know, whatever. But I really think it's a possibility. Sai, they can make him the asshole Sai. You know, he can be trying to be that strict guy, following the book. And he can try to pin Konohamaru on that shit, like, yo, I see you making faces and all that, and try to get him and find out what he's hiding. And then Konohamaru's gonna spill it. Or he's gonna try to figure out, because he's still, either way he's suspicious, right? Either way he is suspicious. I'm saying his suspicion will take him in one of these directions. And I think the other direction would be he'll confront him still. And he'll probably try to like figure out what the fuck it is that he's thinking about. So, because he wants to like work with him. You know what I mean? He wants to help him and work with him. I don't know. But it's going to be either way. Like, he's going to be like back to the root, back to the Amado root side. He's going to be cold with it, or he's not. But we go back to the useless brigade, and Sumire goes outside, talks to Boruto, and somehow, long story short, if you didn't know, I should talk about this more, but the official Naruto website, I have a picture right here from it. On the Boruto database page, they used to have a technique named the Uchiha style sword technique, okay? And it was, damn, what was it actually called though? I'm messing up. My bad. But listen, long story short, they gave it a name, okay? I gotta find out what the other name was called, because now I'm gonna look like a fool. But it wasn't really named before. That was my point of taking this picture. So before, back in 2024, when this technique first aired, because now they're like redefining and classifying techniques. This is the technique Sasuke created, okay? It said the same thing on the wiki. And it says the same thing on the official page right here, developed and honed by Sasuke. It's similar to Japanese Ei, where the enemy is slashed, the same movement the sword is drawn, and he can also use lightning style chakra to coat the blade and increase its sharpness. Now that technique, which name I specifically forgot they used to refer to it as, but it was something generic. It's Uchiha style sword, you know, Uchiha style Kenjutsu, right? Uchiha style Kenjutsu, something like that. It was just something simple. Now it has a name, the Uchiha flowing blade technique. And it's a more specific and detailed description, because this is also from the new descriptions that they have on the Boruto official and all that. But you know, I didn't have that picture, but you know, I have the one from the wikis and the fandoms that they have, because it improves the sharpness of the blade, as Boruto said in the chapter too, because he describes it enough for us, so we don't actually need the wiki. It's a jutsu that increases the blade sharpness and prevents chipping by continuously enveloping it in chakra. So Boruto has that jutsu now, and that's some shit that they made up for Boruto. Plain and simple. They made it up like they've been making up a lot of stuff, and they've been retconning a lot of things that have been already portrayed in Boruto, or that have been existing because of like the leftover connection I had from it being in Naruto and Shippuden, right? So things from Shippuden and Naruto have been retconned, and that would naturally mean the things that connected from Naruto Shippuden directly into Boruto before they started doing bullshit and retconning and rewriting things and all that. That's they've been doing it for a while though. Okay, so like one example, and I won't go too far on this one, but the whole nature energy versus planet's chakra. Now it's planet chakra. Before nature energy was nature energy, right? It's its own thing. But now planet's chakra is just like the primary thing. I've never heard of nature energy being referred to, you know. So, yeah, the new jutsu, he lost his focus and the blade got chipped because it prevents the blade from being chipped and whatnot. So he hands her a scroll. It's a technique in it was technology, I guess. It's technology and research from whatever magical research she's been doing off screen, right? Everything's always off screen, and yet another character to learn something from the future conveniently. This is the MacGuffin. This is the plot device. They're using this future sight ability to move the story forward and also try to subvert expectations. Like when they say, oh, you have a future where you're going to die, and then the character doesn't die. It's bullshit. But whatever. Let's see where this goes. She says she's going to make the sword extremely different. It's not going to be the same, basically. And she says she's going to jazz it up a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be something extra or she's just talking peppy. I don't know. But she also says, like, call me Sumire instead of class rep. And Boruto's confused as hell. Like, huh? Why are you so happy? I don't know why they had him look stupid like that. But anyway, several days later. So this could have been like a week and a half. This could have been 2 weeks almost, right? We don't know, but several days, right? And he's pulling up. He's looking for Eida, okay? And now he has a lot of clones out already. Like, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 5 clones out, and they are smart enough to keep the chakra signatures erased, so nobody sees them or senses them. But I don't know, like, I guess he's gonna start splitting once he gets in there. Does he know how to find Eida? We're gonna find that out. I guess next chapter is immediately getting into the fight. They're not trying to play around because it was just a time skip straight into Bug or Mamushi being on top of the village walls. I didn't even expect that. So that's a little interesting, a little bit. I thought they were going to make us wait. We didn't have to wait. We're getting straight into it. And this is a long Boruto video, but hey, people who like listening to Boruto videos deserve a long Boruto video, okay? So I'm not going to keep this video too much longer. I think this is it. I'm out.